Hello and welcome to Mrs. Conti's mini lesson over how to write short answer responses. Now, before we begin writing short answer responses, you need to know what the three pieces of a short answer response are. They are your assertion, and this is where you answer the prompt and give a reason why. You also need textual evidence to back this up. It should prove your reason. And lastly, you need to explain how your textual evidence proves your assertion. So it's all tying back to what you're trying to prove in your assertion. So when we write our assertion, we're going to highlight it in yellow. We'll highlight our textual evidence in pink. And we'll highlight our explanation in blue, just so you can see that we have the three parts and just to double check ourselves. Okay? So with this knowledge, we are going to be writing short answer responses for the excerpt called Argus in the Odyssey. The first thing you want to do is to read your prompt and deconstruct it so you understand what you're going to be looking for. In this first prompt, I'm going to go ahead and use green. How does the author characterize the slaves in Argus? So we're looking for how the author characterizes the slaves in Argus. Anytime I see any characterization over the slaves, I'm going to highlight or underline in green. The next one I'm going to write in orange. How does the author characterize Argus? So now I'm looking again for how they characterize Argus in orange. I'll do the next one in blue. How does the author use the state of Argus as a representation of Odysseus? So anytime I need to find words that describe the state of Argus and how it could possibly represent Odysseus, I'll highlight that in blue. And lastly, how does the author portray the relationship between Odysseus and Argus? How does the author portray the relationship? I'll highlight that in pink. So I'm going to go to my text now, and I'm going to look just for number one. How does the author characterize the slaves in Argus? Well, looking at the text, it says, while he spoke, an old hound lying near picked up his ears and lifted his muzzle. This was Argus. Oh, that's talking about Argus. So remember, we're going to highlight that in orange. While he spoke, an old hound lying near perked up his ears and lifted his muzzle. Argus was trained as a puppy by Odysseus, but never taken on a hunt before his master sailed for Troy. The young men afterwards hunted wild goats with him, and hare and deer, but he sat grown in his old master's absence. So while the other slaves were going on about hunting, the young men, they hunted wild goats, and hare and deer, but Argus stayed the same. Treated as rubbish now, we're talking about Argus, he lay at last upon a mass of dung before the gates, manure and mules and cows piled there until the field hands could spread it on the king's estate. Abandoned there, and half destroyed with flies, old Argus lay. So we have a really good quote right here that proves how it characterizes Argus. So let's try to write a short answer response for that one already. Okay. We're going to answer in a complete question the what, and then give a reason why. So the author characterizes Argus as decaying because he had been left alone the story states abandoned there and half destroyed with flies, old Argus lay. Okay, we have our assertion that's saying he characterizes Argus as decaying. Why? Because he had been left alone. I could have used better words saying he had been neglected, or anything of that nature, but remember, this is just our first draft. And so then we have our textual evidence. The story states, abandoned there and half destroyed with flies, old Argus lay. Now look at the diction, look at the word choice. They say old Argus, half destroyed, abandoned. I'm going to use those words in my explanation. And I'll say the diction, abandoned, half destroyed, and old indicate that Argus had been neglected over the years and left to die without his master. So I'm focusing on diction, how abandoned, half destroyed, and old show the reader that Argus had been neglected over the years and left to die without his master. This blue part proves my assertion that he had been left alone and that he is characterized as decaying, neglect. This is the connection right there. If I have 3 sentences and I insert figurative language into it, I should have no worries on writing an SAR. So take this into consideration when we write the rest of them in class tomorrow. Thank you for watching.